Hello and welcome to the Station Master's house in Birkdale Village. 15 months ago this house was in a really sorry state, but happily it was taken over by a charity, the Birkdale Community Hub and Library. The aim of the charity is to make this house central to the activities in Birkdale. People can come and borrow books, hold meetings, watch films and do many things that will evolve in time. The story of how we were able to renovate the house is an interesting one, and I'm going to tell you about it in the following slides. Let's start at the beginning. In 2018, Merseyrail were carrying out much needed repairs on the house. Meanwhile, the charity was negotiating the lease with both Merseyrail and Network Rail. This is how we envisaged the library on the ground floor, with separate areas for adult and children's books and lots of activity. A high priority for us was to make the Station Master's house accessible for all. This meant first of all widening the front door to allow wheelchair access. And widening the front door meant removing the hall wall, as you will see. At the same time as removing the hall wall, we needed to improve access to the back part of the house. We did this by creating an archway through to the rear, opening up the whole ground floor to create the library area. To enable everyone access to the whole house, we needed to create a lift shaft at the back of the rear room. This meant that the upstairs and downstairs chimney breasts had to go, but the chimney above had to remain because we are in a conservation area. We solved this by shoring up the chimney with a huge steel girder, allowing us to create the lift shaft that you can see in the following slides. From this point, it was all about upgrading the building to meet modern standards. Some downstairs and upstairs floors were replaced and insulated underneath, and internal insulation was installed on all outside walls before replastering throughout. The large casement windows in the main room downstairs didn't meet conservation standards, so we had to replace them with new wooden sash windows complete with double glazing. and the window frames in all the remaining windows were adapted to take double glazing units. These changes to walls and windows have brought the house right up to modern insulating standards, and we're confident that it will work well in the future. The upstairs banisters were raised in height for safety reasons, and then the whole house was decorated and carpeted and a new kitchen installed. When the house was first examined, we imagined a simple upgrading of utilities would be needed to get the building occupied and used. But in the event, everything had to be installed from scratch. On the electrical side, we put in a new three-phase system to ensure sufficient power to the heating and lift systems, and the whole house has been rewired from top to bottom to bring us up to modern standards. Because the building is open to the public, several special safety systems have been installed, such as emergency lighting, fire alarms, lift call points at the back of the building, and a fire curtain to close off the archway between front and back rooms. While the rewiring was being done, we also installed Ethernet cables to take broadband outlets all over the house and enable excellent Wi-Fi reception upstairs and downstairs. The computer room has been laid out to accommodate IT classes, and each of the 3 meeting rooms upstairs has excellent TV and internet access. The whole building project was carried out without access to mains water in the house, a real challenge for our builders. Then, after months of discussion about how to get access to mains water given our location close to the level crossing, we finally got our own supply late in the summer. This meant that we could now make tea and flush the toilets, both huge steps forward. In early 2021, we managed to complete the project by getting funding for the lift. Its installation in March meant that the whole house was now accessible to all. Outside the house, both front and back garden areas were in need of our attention. In the front, we replaced the rather decrepit fencing with a new brick wall and coping and created an area for disabled access and buggy parking. In the back, we realised that the south-facing patio would enable all sorts of activities, so the walls were renovated and stone steps built from the new back door. Our builder kindly gifted us an oak balustrade for the steps to finish the whole thing off. As we neared the end of the project, it was time to focus on the downstairs library area. Bookshelves were designed and built and began to be filled with donated books. The whole library area is very well lit and there is a designated reception area and a computer station for everyday use. As a final step, we put signage up outside the front door to mark our arrival in the village. We do hope you've enjoyed our renovation story. It wouldn't have happened without the vision of the pioneers who started the charity and the great financial support that we've had from many organisations. We look forward to seeing you in the future at the Station Master's house.